Flamengo could face Marcos Braz, BAP Boto versus Marcos Braz in the Supercopa do Brasil final. That's right. There are rumors that the football director, the executive director of Remo, Marcos Braz, could take over as Flamengo's rival. We're going to talk about that here and also bring you a lot of other information. There's also the matter of Tati Castelhanos, the Argentine player who interests Flamengo. Flamengo has the player under consideration, as reported by some journalists, including those from outside the country. That's the name Flamengo wants for 2026. We're going to bring you information about this. Gifts that the Red Black Nation hopes to receive this Christmas. We come here just like that. Hey guys, Red Black greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro-Negro channel. If you're new, please follow, like, and share on the platforms. On YouTube, subscribe below. Turn on notifications by clicking the bell and leave that awesome like on the video. We're here to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. And just reminding you, man, is it Christmas Eve dinner? You might gain a little weight. There's no way around it. Everything makes you gain weight, but you can lose weight in a healthy way. With more hair, the slimmest program QR code on the screen for you to take advantage of right now. Get in touch. There's always a Mais Cabelo near you, anywhere in Brazil. Every city has a Mais Cabelo nearby, so you can get in touch with Mais Cabelo right now. Just point. The QR code, go ahead and get your free evaluation now. Also, take the opportunity to take care of your hair. Taking care of your scalp health is always very good. It's the leader in the hair segment and now also becoming one of the main ones in health and weight loss. And always with medical supervision, right? We're also here to remind you that you can secure your spot at the Recopa. We've won the Libertadores 4 times and set revenue records. Flamengo is now worth $1 billion. Even if we don't win, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. Knock on wood here. Yeah, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. I almost woke up. You're sleeping. You're sleeping. The alien is sleeping. So we know that Flamengo is doing really well, including next year with a forecast up to 1.7 billion, right? Even without winning titles, if they do, it could go over 2.1 again. So Flamengo has a chance to win a lot of prizes, right? A lot of awards and huge revenues to guarantee, including the construction of the stadium. I'm going to talk about that here. I was talking to an important person, someone from Flamengo's board, off the record, and this person was telling me the following. Paparazzo, BAP is delaying the construction of the stadium. The construction, speaking of BAP. I'm seeing a lot of people complaining, man, a lot of talk, right? Saying that what he did was a racist act, sexist by BAP. And people forget about some statements about Vinicius Jr., who was called Negabinha, the new Negabinha Jr., right? And people from traditional broadcasters talking like that, right? We had other journalists have joked about similar topics. So while much is said about BAP, what really bothers them? I'll tell you all, we don't notice the same things. When Tigrinho talked about the Bambi, right? He put the Bambi there with the tiger biting the Bambi's jugular, right? We even noticed that the Superior Tribunal de Justiça Desportiva didn't punish the way it should have. And we didn't see all this outrage from Leila Pereira, right? We didn't see this outrage from her towards Tigrinho himself, a player from her own team, right? We can see that everyone is upset about what BAP said, but for me, there was no sexism there. He could have avoided talking about someone's physical appearance, and he didn't even mention the person's name. And people already assumed she was the reporter he was talking about in all the articles. And then it led to things like Leila, for example, saying, "My solidarity to the competent journalist who was the victim of a sexist attack." Was it sexist? Leila, it wasn't sexist. It wasn't a sexist attack. He talked about her appearance. It wasn't sexist. Don't try to distort the situation. He could have avoided it, which I think was the right thing to do, but calling it sexist. Why didn't you complain about the attack or your player's homophobic post? And let's be serious. Why didn't you say anything, right? As a club executive, he should always behave exemplarily and never be misogynistic. Look, you guys are doing... Look, one thing is one thing. It could be wrong. It could be something. It could be wrong. Leila posted that even at Christmas, machismo doesn't take a break. She is trying to create a narrative that doesn't match what was said. He was wrong to have commented on the journalist's appearance like many others. They talk about appearance, and you do nothing, you say nothing. Okay, they talk about it, they act homophobic and everything, and nobody says anything, okay? She says that when referring to a professional's physical appearance, the manager goes beyond any limit of sports debate and the right to criticize. This is a personal attack that has nothing to do with journalism and reinforces misogynistic practices historically used to embarrass and delegitimize women. Look, just talking about appearance has nothing to do with sexism. I'll say it again, okay? You can fit this into any other situation, talking about appearance and all that, but man, sexism? Why couldn't he say it? And we notice when people talk about other people's noses, people talk about other people's noses, and there isn't all this fuss. So, here's what I think, guys. Taking a mistake and creating a narrative to attack. Just because they saw that Flamengo is having a huge moment, and what did he bring yesterday, right? He blew up everything, including revenue. They just want to make a fuss, right? Just to attack exactly what we do. The lesson he gave on the live show, which was at the Flamengo Council on Flamengo television, right? So we can see people complaining a lot, right? And we, including polyvinyl chloride, also complaining and everything. I picked out a few here. I picked out a few clips that are going viral, right? Leila Pereira, Planet of Soccer. Leila Pereira will not comment on Abel Ferreira's sexist remarks against reporter Aline Fanelli. Okay, you understand. The president of Palmeiras is here. Leila Pereira will not comment on Abel Ferreira's sexist remarks against reporter Aline Fanelli. Hey, Leila Pereira, aren't you going to comment on that? Is it just because it's BAP who's the president of Flamengo when it's someone from Palmeiras? Do you treat it differently? Wow, that's something, huh? You pick and choose. You only speak up when it's convenient for you. Leila Pereira, careful, some might call me sexist for mentioning her, but I'm also criticizing the other journalists. Men, both men and women. There's no sexism here. It doesn't matter. Aren't rights supposed to be equal? So let's always talk the same way. Just bringing up what Abel Ferreira said here. They said what BAP said was sexist, so why didn't Leila complain about what Abel Ferreira said? Good evening, Aline Fanelli from Band News Frequency Modulation.
I wanted to know if you could update us on Mike's situation.
One more illusion is something you have to understand. I only have to answer to 3 women, just 3. My mother, my wife, and the president of Palmeiras, Leila. They're the only ones.
Wait, you only answer to 3 women? He's separating the journalist as a woman and a man. He's trying to say that she shouldn't be there, asking him questions that he doesn't have to answer to a woman. Wait, she's speaking as a journalist, not as a woman? Gender isn't relevant here? The president of Palmeiras didn't say or comment on any of that. I have the right to go.
To talk to me and ask for explanations. What is it? The team lost? Who got injured? Why did you put in A?
Why did you put in, what is it? Put in C. You saw it there then? Why does the media only attack when it's someone from Flamengo? Why does Leila attack Bape and didn't criticize Abel Ferreira? What hypocrisy, Leila Pereira? Then we had Andre Pliho, for example, and nothing against Andre Pliho. Okay, Andre Pliho has followed my whole life, nothing against him. I'm just showing that everyone makes these jokes about appearance, and I don't see all this revolution. When the journalist does that, Andre Pliho is right here, okay? So later you can't say I'm making it up. If Dorival is hired, it's already a sign of respect for Grande, for Dorival Jr., right? São Paulo will have to look for another advisor, right? Juca, Pacheco, and Dorival. That's too many big egos for such a small press room. Here you go, that's it. They can talk about other people's noses, and I'm not criticizing. Plihao, right? He could avoid it. Arnaldo Ribeiro could avoid it. You know Arnaldo Ribeiro? Do you know who Arnaldo Ribeiro is? Yeah, we're here to have dinner early, to have supper early, paparazzo having supper early, and he answers plihao. Imagine an interview with Dorival Fogin-Audi, mediated by Juca Pacheco. There won't be enough air and too many noses, right? Where are Juca Kafuri, Leila Pereira, and polyvinyl chloride? Where are you discussing these statements? Where are you guys, man? You guys are defending your own group, our group, mine as a journalist too, and attacking out of bias. You guys are the most biased. Everyone does this, and since I've mentioned it before, nothing changes. Leila didn't complain about Abel Ferreira when he made a sexist comment, and that really was a sexist comment. That's not true for BAP, who was one. He talked about appearance, like many journalists I'm showing here do, okay? So guys, double standards, right? That to me is hypocrisy from a big part of the press. When criticizing BAP's statement, he was wrong, just like others. Everyone was wrong too. But why don't they complain when it's their buddies? Why didn't Leila criticize Abel Ferreira's statements when he did it, huh? Other than that, I didn't see the media move to talk about the xenophobic statements from Abel's staff. You remember them mentioning Brazilians, right? So no one says anything, right? Xenophobia is allowed when it's not Flamengo, right? Sexism is only a problem if it's about Flamengo. I'm really tired. This is exhausting. And then I see everyone wanting to talk about it, as if the guy really was. He might have made a mistake, guys. I even think he could have avoided saying that, but the point is this difference that exists, okay? And there are many other comments like that one, for example. I saw people over at Sport Television complaining, and on Sport Television itself, we've already had that scene with Negabinha Jr. Do you remember Vinicius Jr.? Guys, that was absurd. A shameless act, and nobody says anything. Nobody remembers that. So now it's time to make a big deal about Renata Mendonça, since that's all anyone talks about, right? If he was even talking about her because he didn't mention her name, everyone in the media is saying her name, but he didn't mention her name. They came to the conclusion that it's her, but I'm not going to say it's her here. I'm not going to confirm it. Everyone is saying her name, but honestly, I wasn't going to mention that name. All right, yeah, we also have other things to talk about here, right? We're going to talk here about the possible late Christmas presents, right? That could arrive for Flamengo. Yeah, we also have Marco here. The issue with Marcos Braz, okay, who could be the replacement for Fabinho Soldado at Corinthians, right? So, Corinthians would have already started planning for 2026. They're saying Fabinho Soldado's departure is already confirmed, right? He's a football executive, yeah. It's likely that he'll leave, so behind the scenes. The name that's been coming up in the Corinthians media is Marcos Braz, who brought Remo up to the first division of the Brazilian Championship. So the current director is one of the most talked about to take over Corinthians, right? Is that it? He's a Flamengo supporter, but he's a professional, right? He has a strong record at Flamengo from 2019 to 2024, and now he might face them for the first time. So he should be facing Flamengo for Remo now, right? Is that it? In the Brazilian Championship, yes. And he would face Felipe Luis, who he was the one that brought to Flamengo. BAP was the one who brought him in. People he brought in he didn't work with, but BAP, for example, did he work at Flamengo? Were they there together? So it's a name that's highly regarded among the options being considered by President Osmar Stabini, right? Is that so? So, Marcos Braz played an important role in promoting the Pará team to Serie A in 2026. Yeah, there's a renewal offer, but he hasn't decided his future yet. Yeah, I even talked to him. I can ask here how it is, how it's going to be, okay? But Corinthians is considering the possibility. They're looking to sign Marcos Braz, okay? Really? Jorge Nicola also mentions other names, such as São Paulo Pelaipe, now at Grêmio and formerly with Flamengo. Alessandro Brito, right? He's the one who works as an executive at Botafogo. Yeah, but those didn't move forward, okay? And there are other names being considered, all right? Fabinho's departure, the Corinthian soldier, is what could open up the possibility for Marcos Braz to face Flamengo already in the Supercopa on January 24th. The location and the stadium are yet to be decided. Look, yeah, we have a lot of portals, right? Tupi, for example, Radio Tupi, reporting that Tati Castelhanos is really back on Flamengo's radar. And actually, he never left. The transfer window closed, but Flamengo is waiting for the right time. When it opens again, Flamengo will pursue him, right? They've already reached out. Simplicio mentioned this, right? Yeah, the player is playing in Italy. Flamengo is interested. That's already confirmed, right? So Flamengo is back to monitoring, making inquiries, seeing if he's interested in coming to play for Flamengo. And now they're trying to move forward with talks with the player and the Italian team. Yeah, we've already mentioned here that he could really be accepting to play football, to return to South American football, and it's Flamengo. They kept in touch with Lazio and with Castelhanos' representatives, and even authorized director Jose Boto to travel to Italy to handle the negotiations directly. So Flamengo has already approved BAP, right? The board approved Boto, and Felipe wants and relies on this name too. With this signing, Boto has already received authorization to go to Italy. In closing, try to seal the deal and set up a meeting, right? In Italy, it's to sign Castelhanos, okay? The second one is the article from Tupi, right? Tupi, from Radio Tupi. Is it online? Jose Boto already has authorization to travel to Italy to take care of the business with Tati Castelhanos. Lazio would have asked for 30 million euros. Flamengo is trying to pay a little less, around 25, maybe 2020 or 22 plus more bonuses and everything else. Internally, there hasn't been an official formal offer to Lazio yet. The information that Tupi brings is, as reported by Radio Tupi, Castelhanos would have given a positive sign to Flamengo for 2026, showing personal openness to play in Brazilian football. Radio Tupi says the main issue is the high transfer cost, but Flamengo can easily afford it. They have already stated that the striker is not easily for sale and that offers below the asking price are not considered. So Flamengo might need to aim for 30, including some goals. Recently, he played about 29 matches in 2025, scored 7 goals, 6 assists, with an average of 1 goal involvement every 166 minutes played. Previous statistics include 22 goals, 9 assists in 85 to 97 matches for the Italian team. His market value has been set since 2023. Sources estimate his value at 25-35 million euros. Flamengo won't reach 35 or even 30. I think they'll go up to 25 at most based on his performance and other clubs' interest. Yeah. Flamengo believes he would be a good addition after Juninho left for Pumas in Mexico. An upgrade, right? Yeah? They believe that Tati Castelhanos' technical profile matches Flamengo. Movement between the lines, finishing inside the box, active participation in offensive transitions. It's also a technical fit at Flamengo with Felipe Luis, right? So, playing centrally as a reference in attack, alternating with pivot and infiltration movements, combining with faster wingers and creative midfielders, right? The arrival of a striker with a goal-scoring and assisting profile can diversify the offensive options and create competition. For Pedro, that's exactly what BAP said, right? He wants there to be competition in each position, right? So Tati Castelhanos is a very interesting name for this year, 2026. Yeah, we also saw the article from 90 Minutos talking about the gifts, right? That's what Flamengo wants, right? Yeah, Flamengo wants it, so that's the return. Should we mention Vini Jr. or Lucas Paquetá returning, or just one? But it's not happening yet, right, guys? Christmas gifts, signings like Felipe Luis, staying for a long time. It's a lifetime contract for Arrascaeta. Yeah, it's now so Europe stay away, so Europe doesn't sign Carrascal and company. Those are great Christmas wishes, but some top signings too, besides keeping Felipe Luis, will be important. We've already mentioned here that Boto will stay and Felipe will too. That should be announced right after Christmas. That's it. Please follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video. Red and black greetings from Flamengo. Thank you and Merry Christmas. Wishing everyone an excellent Christmas night.